Previously on Youth Power.
Today we're here in a very special city, Jinggangshan.
I feel warmly welcomed by the kind, gentle, and friendly people around me.
I know young people everywhere are drawing on empathy, tolerance, and love.
Welcome to the second episode of Youth Power, with the theme of the great founding spirit of the CPC guides us forward.
Wanna
Fly. You can fly, like, go.
You can fly.
Yeah, exactly.
And make our motherland more stronger and more prosperous.
Welcome to the fifth episode of Youth Power.
If you were to believe or form an opinion about China, firstly come here and practically see for yourself.
Women are enjoying a higher and higher status in today's society.
So we start seeing each other as humans.
Biggest two countries in terms of population in the world. We can definitely achieve a lot together with concerted efforts hand by hand.
Hello everyone! Welcome to the sixth episode of Youth Power with the theme Beyond Labels, Generation Zers explain who they are. I'm your host, Fu Zhijun. These days, a phrase pops up every now and then before us, Generation Z. And give your opinions as well.
Hi everyone, this is Myrna. I'm the energetic one of the group usually. I love energizing people. I'm like the Red Bull of the group. I love pushing people to their best potential.
As for the Generation Z as a group, I think it's very hard to define us. I'm thus extremely looking forward to the similarities that might come out of today's discussion. Let's go and find out.
I'd love to observe, to engage, and to criticize. I care about this changing environment and this fast-developing world.
I'm very happy to live in a globalized world where my voice could be heard better through different platforms such as the internet.
Like I would say the ones born after 2000, they're called a digital native.
Yeah.
Because they literally don't know how life was before smartphones or like before the internet. So I think it's a bit different.
So we're all born before 2000, the year 2000.
We're like a Wi-Fi. I'm 98, 99,
2000. Oh, great. Then I'm sitting at the right seat because I'm 99.
Oh,
so
99.
we're the 99 line, 98 and 2000. Okay, let's see how it's different, like within the Generation Z as well.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we're here to play a game to make predictions of the top one answer from our questionnaire. So when you are writing down the answer, it's not necessarily your own opinion, but your prediction of the popular opinion of the Generation Z. All right?
Interesting to name because the baby boomer and then Generation X, Z, Y, Z, and it seems that we are the last. We're the last generation because after Z, what is the letter?
It's Generation Alpha.
Alpha, even stronger.
There's even younger generation there.
B is creative and flexible thinking. I think the Generation Z would really agree with this because I think we are living in an era where everyone is flexible to share their opinion. Whether it's sharing on social media or giving a comment, you really do have a big space to share whatever information you want.
Do you think it is related to between generations? Because I think creative minds and innovation, that belongs to young people. So when Generation X, when they're young, don't you say they're not innovative or creative?
No, they are, but I do think the environment or the society that Generation X lived may not have given them that much space to be as creative as they want as compared to our generation right now. I think there's literally no limits on what we can create or what we want to think.
Yeah, I agree, because we have such a great exposure with the help of internet, the social media and everything.
My answer is D because, the reason why the internet attracts me is that I love its decentralized, bottom-up structure because it represents equality so that the voices of those disadvantaged groups could also be heard. And I think that's why the internet has helped brought so many revolutionary things.
I think as a generation that's born and raised in a world where information technology thrives, we're lucky enough to have a platform to express ourselves. For example, I'm a content creator myself. I help others learn English from music and video games. And I'm lucky enough to have my ideas appreciated by other people. I'm able to show my knowledge and passion with little to no cost, thanks to platforms like Bilibili. We are the digital natives.
This is a very Generation Z excuse. Very defensive.
Sorry.
She just offended
Sorry
you.
for being Generation Z. Maybe.
Okay, so I've now got the top 5 answers in my hands. Let's see it from the 5th one, all right?
We're not even top 5, can you believe? Our answers.
That should be young because what is that?
Oh, so it's young. All right. Okay, let's see the 4th one.
That's mine.
That's your answer.
That's mine. We're
right.
both there.
Let's see the 3rd one.
Hold on.
It's mine.
That's your answer.
So
We're like top 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, well, we do know about Gen Z.
Backwards top
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Then what about the? Yeah, I know how hard your job is. The reason why I didn't choose these 2 answers is that I don't think that although we have many access, but nowadays it seems that we have much more energy and time to worry about our own things, but we are facing the problems of development, not survival.
Yeah, because the world is changing so rapidly right now. We have to face a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that we're fragile, it's just we have to face more.
Yeah.
I think it's basically how you define hardships. It's different than how, let's say, our parents' generation would define it. A lot of people might think that physical hard work is literally hardship, but what about nowadays? We have mental hardships that come from processing so much work, and a lot of work stopped being physically made. We have robots maybe replacing us for work, but that doesn't mean that us functioning the robots, us creating them was not hard work. So I do think that kind of pressure is different than maybe the older generation. So it is different, I would say.
Yeah.
Agree.
My neck totally agrees. Have you been persuaded?
I've heard frequently that previous generations thought that they fight really hard to earn the right to choose. However, we are born with choice. Well, I chose E because I can relate it to my own personal experience. When I was little and when my parents and I were at the dinner table and they were discussing things at their work, and when I asked things about it, my mom and dad would say, it's none of your business, and I was totally excluded from the discussion. So
How old were you?
I would say in primary school.
But you were young.
But I think, little children's mindset when they were little, so that there won't be a huge gap between university and occupation, because we could know more about what it was like during work.
What if you're the parents? What will you do?
I get that. I mean,
difficult.
As a parent, you will have this tendency to protect the innocence of your kid.
Being a Generation Z, we have something that they don't have, is that we are young and we are energetic. It's something that they want, but they don't have. You need to go and prove your worth and back up your words through actions to show them that you can do, to earn their trust.
All right, so do you want to change your choices?
No.
I think
One last chance.
No.
No?
No.
You sure?
Let's see.
Let's see the light turns green or red, all right?
Wrong hand.
Oh yay!
Wait, it's not necessarily you guys, right? It might not be V, it could be E.
Yeah, sure.
Her face was
What is the answer?
All right, so we know that 1 or 2 of you have gotten the answer right. So why don't we start with the first one? Okay.
Sure.
I think we're confident that it's us. That's why.
Let's see.
Oh.
We are right.
You are right.
But I'm confident that E
I
is
got it.
at least a top 5.
Made the list, right? We hate to be called a snowflake generation.
Fragile,
Yeah,
yes.
fragile.
Yeah. So I guess my answer would be the second one.
Confident.
Oh.
So it says
We're not
that
as good
you're
as the previous generation.
That's
the worst generation.
We've always heard this from our
Yeah, I
teacher.
guess every generation hears that.
What is your answer then?
You're too young to understand this. What?
Hey, you made the top 3.
Top 3 is good.
Well done,
Right.
well done. We're getting better at this game.
966.
I want to do it like with it.
You did it.
Oh, we're just doing this for your
For
own
your own
good. I think we've all heard that at some point.
Yeah. But it's not that.
But I don't think it's that like uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Me neither.
Because sometimes it is true, but they don't like want to explain more about that. Why they want to do that?
Yeah, sometimes better to communicate the reasons behind.
right.
Yeah.
They're the luckiest
We're the
generation
luckiest
having
generation.
been born at a really good time.
Because we face fierce competition, and I don't think, I think we can be called the luckiest generation yet in terms of living standards, but we're not the luckiest generation in terms of fierce competition.
Why do they like contradict to themselves so much? On the one hand, they say that the generation is worse than ever, and then they say that you're the luckiest generation. Well, I think
They're not contradictory, right? You can be the luckiest while the worst.
so. It's like they hate us.
Yeah, they hate us. They envy us.
They envy us. But I don't think that, like for example, at their generation, like Generation X or Generation Y, when they're young, they don't have like COVID-19. But we have.
Exactly.
But they did have other pretty intense situations too.
Like nuclear
You are
threats.
speaking of the fight for them. No.
It's not that I'm speaking for them, it's just that with this point, I don't think it makes me uncomfortable that much in saying that we're the best generation, because I do think we are lucky enough to live in a world that things are easier maybe in terms of access, for example, to internet.
Material-wise.
And when you go outside, I don't think that in terms of the living standards, I do think it's a lot maybe stronger than the previous generations. So I do think when they say something like you are living in a good generation, it's not without the help of the older generation making us in a good generation.
I feel like they're entitled to say that, and it's partly true. Right. Okay, now let's see whether any of you have gotten the answer right.
Are you changing it to mine? Oh, he is a traitor.
He is a traitor.
He's back
Let's
with
see.
me.
Let's see.
Traitor.
He is a traitor.
He's back
Let's
with
see.
me.
Let's see.
Okay,
Let's see the right
Just
answer.
because if one of us are right, then it would turn green. So
In my hands, let's see it.
let's see the top one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanna see
okay,
the
let's
top
start with
one.
the top one.
I'm ready to.
The traitor says so. Oh, we're the luckiest generation.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
We
my
are
God,
the
look
luckiest
at him.
generation. That's really a misunderstanding.
That's so annoying.
Virtual
What is that?
reality?
Oh, like we're leaving actual reality
social
of life
media.
for social media.
It's kind of true.
I don't think so. What?
Because it's not misunderstanding. Like
Yeah. I
it's
also
kinda true.
agree with you.
I think we can really tell how diverse Generation Z is. That a bunch of us sitting together, we don't agree on the same
Yeah.
thing.
I think it's B. Is it? No.
Oh, that we're arrogant
Know
and
it all.
self-centered. It's a misunderstanding. It's true.
Yeah, I agree.
Really, I'm not like, because I listen to others and I change my answer, so I don't think I'm like.
That's
The
exactly
fact
what
that he's
arrogant
arguing with us right now means
arrogant
he's-
people says. Okay. All right.
It will be difficult for me.
Let's start with your.
What is that?
How does that work?
think H is included in C because H is like body anxiety, which could also be perceived as you're jealous of other people's success in terms of keeping your body fit.
You see how every time someone stays a bit with me and then like they're not actually with me?
And yours is
It is
D.
difficult for me to change this because like nothing.
Yeah,
like,
well,
You can make it
You're
into B.
bored.
it does take some time to be able to figure out who am I, what's my purpose in life. And for me as an individual, I always think of, from a young age, I studied and read many times the diary of Lei Feng. And I really take to heart one thing he had written in his diary as a young age, like ourselves, that our lives are limited, but serving the people is unlimited. So I want to take my limited life into putting my limited life into the endeavor of endlessly serving the people.
Oh, then who?
It's definitely C.
I think it's so much pressure now because someone, a YouTuber or an influencer could be 15, 16 years old and he's already made a lot of money as compared to someone who's been working a steady job. But then someone who's in school at 15, 16 might think, why am I still in school? Why can't I go be an influencer and make money just like him? So I think
that's what I think.
Yeah, right? So
and I did a good job.
Is that we have an actual
See?
Yeah, sure, because I'm
I'm right again.
She seems to has all the answers.
A huge gap between the reality and our
the
ideals.
hugeness of desire and smallness of reality. Yeah.
Yes, the body. Your H answer has arrived. The physical appearance.
I did the best job.
You made
in
it to the board twice. Okay, I see an E change to D.
No. E is the reason
why
why
are you guys
D
making this so
exists.
complicated? And what's that? Is that lips?
Because you say we can
Because
only
you
choose
can-
one
like, you can
answer,
change
so
it.
this is my only one answer, that is CB.
I'm a good student. I stick
Thank
with one
you.
answer.
I like you the most.
I stick with
Please
one answer.
explain your answer.
I think this is something that I, as a Generation Z, would really complain about. Sometimes I don't think people are that aware of all the information, yet because they need to repost it or have an opinion, they would repost it.
Like I just hate it. I hate it. Like,
I hate
like, because they're using the words and terms from others, but it's not like a specific meaning of a language. I think if Chomsky had heard the word, they will, like he would jump off his coffin and hunt them. And it's so like because language are used to express the feelings and then express information. But those internet slang, they just express nothing, and they're
just for fun.
Right.
No, but not only for fun, but they're stealing other people's like pet phrase, and then use that as their own. And
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, another thing that I have a problem with the internet slangs is because I think it simplifies our language.
Exactly.
Like in the past, we can say a lot about amazing thing, and now we just say like "绝了."
I can't agree on any because whether it's English or Chinese slurs, I always think I'm the slowest to know them. So people can be saying, they're like, Myrna, YYDS. And I'm like,
YYDS.
Huh? What? Who?
Yeah. What does that mean?
永远单身.
永远的生.
Oh, you don't know?
No, why? I thought it was
It seems like you are the slowest.
Next one.
I am
next
the
one.
slowest.
She's slower than
Please
me.
explain your reasons.
Okay, and I think the reason why there are so many quarrels, there are so many fights on the internet is that we tend to form clusters based on similarity and then produce
social issues.
Sure.
But on Weibo, it has turned to be like
entertainment.
Entertainment.
Like a laugh
and make
stuff.
they make it as a fun things and to entertain themselves. So I don't think it is a good thing.
What?
Oh no, none of these.
Beautiful paint.
Really nice paint. Is B the correct answer?
Can we change answers again and then make a guess again? Can I?
Okay, please.
Then I turn it into D.
D.
Yeah,
Okay.
D. Do we have D?
Are you sticking with C?
Of course, no. I wanted to turn green.
B. Okay. Okay. Do you want to change your answer?
No, I think we
I
stick with this.
accept losing. It's okay.
Let's see D, B, and E, whether any of them have gotten the right answer. Let's see the light.
I am the one of reference.
Oh! I think you got, either one of you got the winning chance.
I think a lot of the conflicts we see online nowadays come align with ours. We want to be the one that holds the truth. But what we need to learn is that the world is not black or white. There's no absolute right or wrong. Just like in our questions, there's no single correct answer. So I want to quote a saying from my favorite video game character. The world is not black or white, but a delicious shade of gray.
Okay, 3 different answers. Let's start with yours.
Illness. I do think that right now it's something that Generation Z talks so much about and we're concerned about, which is we tend to stay giving more attention to depression, mental illness, and all those things. So I do think mental health and illness is becoming something that a lot of people are caring about more.
Yeah.
So right now, they always say, get help, talk to someone. It's something that I hear all the time.
Recently, the Ministry of Education in China has listed the mental illness as one of the categories to watch for these teenagers.
That's
and
really
I think that's
good.
a great.
That's very good.
In China, we're talking about this climate change things more and more. Like recently, we're saying that carbon neutrality, because China is going to reach carbon neutrality by the year of 2060, and we're going to reach carbon peak in 2030.
Personally, I also care a lot about climate change, but when I see G, I think new technology is everywhere and it has definitely dominated our life.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, because on one hand you can increase your productivity with machines, with artificial intelligence, but at the same time you're also limiting job opportunities, right? Like so many people could have taken those jobs, like and so many occupations are being taken up by artificial intelligence as well. The more we advance, the more it's kind of like a Pandora's box, right? You open it, you get the good stuff and you get the bad stuff.
I also care about very much is climate change and war. One, for climate change, as we know, the climate change crisis is now more dire than ever. And as some very important meetings just concluded for climate change in the past few days.
Area of news that you're particularly interested about, that you will follow on a daily basis?
You are majoring journalism.
Recently, I watched a lot of late-night TV shows, and a lot of the hosts talked about American politics.
Yeah, I love these late-night American talk shows a lot.
Like recently, I care about the virtual meeting with President Xi and President Joe Biden. And it is such a big progress that we meet each other and we are coexist in a peace. It's really significant. And not only of the hard news, but also social news I do care about. Have you heard about the social news of a poor Tsinghua student? He doesn't have enough money when he entered the university. A lot of people helped him and he got to a specific position, and now he's donating his money back into the society. Because the news are now like posting in our WeChat moment, and we just view the news in our WeChat.
What are you concerned about most?
She just mentioned that she has done a lot of work of like writing curriculum of sex education and recommended to schools, but a lot of the schools has rejected the proposal because they don't have time to put sex education on board.
But I do think sex education in general is a sensitive topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about too early. But then if you don't talk about it too early, it might be too late.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference between how people really think whether or not sex education should be in school education system.
Exactly, and how much to be
taught. How much to talk about it, yeah.
Then why not choose B?
Because I think E, mental support, is very, very important. Mental health could be a class in school, not to teach you, for example, how not to be depressed or how to prevent it, but giving you tips on when you're feeling low, what you can do, when you're feeling anxious, what you can do.
Well, I chose D because I think there's a huge gap between what you are taught in school and what you should learn in your work. And we could bridge that gap by
some entrepreneurs, some CEOs, even some normal working class people to come give a speech, give some education. I think that would be really useful.
Yeah, now the question is, Which one?
Sex
you are right. It's not only sex education, it's also what's our view of the romantic love.
Yeah.
Do you think we need more classes on that?
Well, I heard that some university has a course called relationship, but it's so difficult. I think the homework is so difficult to judge.
What's the homework?
Like get into a relationship,
What?
and I think it's so difficult to judge whether like she get into so many times of a relationship can get a high grade, or it can persist with one romance that could get a high grade.
I don't think romance is something that could be
taught in a class.
Nor relationships. It's so different for everyone.
And it couldn't be judged by others.
Yeah,
I think.
for sure.
We can tell right from wrong in terms of relationship.
As for me, I don't think this thing about a romantic relationship is about getting you into one or out of one, but how you deal with it when you're in one.
Yeah.
Like, what is a healthy relationship?
When speaking of intimacy, I'm actually very curious about why there are so many people who are afraid of close relationships. Like, many people are afraid of being trapped in it.
Yeah, people are afraid of commitment.
We must reach far beyond our own lifespans. We must think not as individuals, but as a species. Do not go gently into that
Facebook has changed its name into Meta.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe in 3050, we will live in a world that is more like what is described in Terminator, but not in 2050.
Like for example, the graduation ceremony of Communication University of China. Because of the COVID-19, we have moved the graduation ceremony.
In China, actually, the population of older people is increasing, and the younger generation doesn't have time to cut work and go help older people. So I did hear a robot was created to help lift the old person, help feed them, help them video call their parents. So I do think robots are a very, very good thing. It's very helpful, but whether or not they can replace humans in general, I don't know. We'll see.
Right. At least one of you got it right.
Her, which means you can actually have a relationship with an AI.
I think it's weird to be around with.
But there are a lot
like
of
I'm marrying my
relationships.
cell phone.
Yeah.
No, but it won't actually be your cell phone. It would be like
a
handsome-looking cell phone. Yeah.
That's scary.
That is scary,
I'm
actually.
okay with that. Okay, please, next one.
Is that mine? Let me see.
Is that yours?
The reason I'm not on this list because this movie, probably Generation Z never watched it.
I'll be back.
We'll start with you.
You can elbow it. I'm sorry?
Start with C.
Oh,
why do you
accepting the ordinary me. I think this is the generation of embracing self-love and making sure people accept.
Should accept the special me.
I think there's a paradox about Gen Z is that many young people think that it's really important to keep healthy, so they bought a lot of healthy food. While they stay,
I keep my thermos with me all the time.
And they stay up late frequently. So it's a paradox, but it's something that we do believe is really important, keeping healthy.
Right.
We've got goat's in our bottles.
Well, I know that.
Oh, great. Green light again.
Nice.
C or H.
I'm not that curious anymore. It's green, whatever.
At least we made it to the list.
Yeah.
Oh, keeping healthy.
Keeping healthy.
Keeping healthy, good.
And I hope that keeping healthy could be
Higher
paid more
up.
attention to.
I know you go to bed pretty early.
Oh yeah, and wake up pretty early
When?
too.
Interesting.
From 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, like I
When
go
you
to
get
bed.
up?
6 to 7.
Let's see your answer. D, E, C.
A lot of my friends have told me that they really hate boys who are really confident about themselves while actually are not. So I guess that's one of the most horrible things.
就是他明明为什么看起来那么普通，但是他却可以那么自信。
I wish everyone can gain more confidence.
Yeah, confidence is good, but
there's such thing as too much confidence.
Too much confidence.
It can be annoying.
It's raining confidence.
Especially certain men.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Why you're looking at me? Is PUA, pickup artist. The context of this norm is wider nowadays. It is not only from like your boyfriend or girlfriend is PUA, but also like your boss and your teacher is PUA. Wow.
Great.
Great.
Let me remind you, you're trying to predict the popularity answer. Let's see. We got an A, we got an A, we got it.
It's an H, but I'm not sure why I drew it that way.
It's fine. Would you like to start explaining your
Yes, I'm an omnimedia operator. I do think social media and media in general right now is so popular, so I think as a Generation Z, so many of them would love a career operating the media.
What about you?
Inventive methods to motivate me. There was a routine that we had to talk every night for about 30 minutes, sharing what we saw and heard. And one night, my dad told me that he was a huge fan of wuxia novel when he was my age. However, at that time, books were luxuries. Together with his classmates, they decided to borrow books from libraries and make a transcription as soon as possible, so that they could read the copy afterwards. Sounds a bit miserable, isn't it? And that was the picture in the 70s and 80s of the last century. Later, my cousin, who was born in 1994, became attracted to foreign cultures because she sometimes watched imported TV programs with translated Chinese subtitles or funny dubbing when she was little. However, she still yearned for a better access to know more about what was happening outside our country. Things get changed when it comes to Generation Z, who are blessed with an abundance of knowledge and information, and are also known as the internet natives. So today, as a member of Generation Z, I want to share some good news and some bad news. The bad news first. On one hand, we are more negatively influenced by modern technology compared with the previous generations. Algorithms create numerous cultural cocoons, so we unconsciously read the news by narrowcasting rather than broadcasting. For the most part, Generation Zs are surrounded with people who share the same opinions and even the same prejudices. On the other hand, we are deeply divided. Pew Research once did a study, and they found that at this moment, rise to the occasions. Since the reform and opening up, from 1970s to the early 90s, previous generations have come a long way to get here. And still, the road ahead of us, the Generation Z, is also lined up with difficulties and challenges, and sometimes even misunderstandings. It is supposed to be hard, but the hard is what makes it great. Thank you.
When I look at the human race and its history, I see a story of self-sacrifice and courage. Every generation creates its champions that stoke the flames of human ambition and progress, and erect the platform needed by their children to reach newer heights. From the discovery of fire, to the construction of the pyramids, to the development of the scientific theory in the 17th century, humanity has never ceased to push the boundaries of what's possible. Generation Z finds itself at the beginning of a new century, rising from the missteps and failures of their predecessors. and learning from the milestones of champions past. Our generation faces some of the biggest challenges ever to be encountered by the human race. The likes of global warming and climate change threaten the existence of our very species. Income inequality, the prevailing discrimination against gender, distrust amongst various ethnicities and races. These are the shortcomings of our society, and it is our responsibility to get rid of these issues. Courage and creativity are the most endearing qualities of Generation Z. Gone are the days of strict conservative mindset where people aren't free enough to think for themselves. We have been exposed to countless means for the propagation of media across the world right from the time we were born, from the television to computer devices to mobile phones, all of which can share informations, ideas, opinions, and entertainment from any corner of the globe just with the tap of a button. This vast accessibility of media, coming up with tech startups making the thought control prosthetics for differently able people, abstract artists symbolizing our fears and our struggles through their art, alternative music composers combining elements of music from different cultures and bringing us together, filmmakers coming up with bold new movies expressing the struggles and fears.
Yet another misconception that there is about our generation is that we have low emotional quotient, that we are very disrespectful and very rigid. Now this is far from the truth. We are accepting, we are empathetic to our peers, but at the same time, we know how to establish boundaries. Our parents from a young age have taught us to be flexible, to mold ourselves according to the expectations of others, at all costs just to avoid conflict. And while it may have been reasonable for them to do so, it's not reasonable for us as the members of our generation, that very same thing, or make that same mistake that our parents might have. To be able to say no to others is not being disrespectful, is to establish a clear dichotomy between the self and the other. If we accept others, I am 100% sure that we as well will be accepted. It is a hard journey to find our own identities and to know who we are and what we do. But it's also important to remember that the rest of the members of this generation are here for you as your community, supporting you every step along the way and giving the very respect that you deserve.
As social members, we put labels on people around us all the time. Right, wrong, success, failure, lucky, unlucky. On the other hand, we often disagree with the labels assigned to us by others. Thus, for good or for bad, labels represent an influence on our identity that is often beyond our control. But if there is one lesson we could bring back from today's episode, I believe